Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every single theatrically released animated film in order. I'm Sean.
And I'm Tennille.
And this time we are watching another stop motion film.
Yeah!
We watched Old Czech Legends.
From 1953.
And as you might be able to figure out, it's from Czechoslovakia, or the Czech Republic.
Well, no. It's Czechoslovakia at this point.
Okay.
Because
I don't know how history works and when it switched or whatever.
Yeah, at some point they became two different countries.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, you have like Czechoslovakia and then you have Slovakia, or like one of them's...
Oh.
I don't know. Sorry, Slovakians, I don't know your history very well.
You'd think we'd know better now that we've learned some of it. Or something.
We have learned something.
Some things? Multiple things.
Maybe? I don't know how much truth there was in this, though.
Yeah, but it's old Czech legends. So it was based on a few different books, it looked like, from a couple of different Czech authors. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that they're legends
I think it's just one author.
One? I thought it was two. I thought I saw two.
Maybe.
But whatever. Yeah, it pretty much just goes in time with history of the Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia, what should I call it?
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Or just Czech.
Czech.
I mean that'll probably... I mean, they call it Old Czech Legends, so I think just saying Czech is probably fine.
Checkmate. Yeah.
Really?
No. So,
anyway.
Yeah, it's mainly like 3 or 4 stories.
Yeah, there's like 3 anecdotes.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, and this is how it started, and then here's a story from a few generations later, and here's one from like a number of generations after that.
Yeah.
They're all interesting.
They're all beautifully animated and have some of the best camera work I have ever seen in a stop motion animated film, period.
Agreed. Yeah, even like today's stop motion films. We just saw
Isle of Dogs, and
there's no camera movement.
And while yes, Isle of Dogs also had fantastic camera work, this film is on par with that.
Yeah, it's just like, whoa.
Wow!
Your camera work is amazing. I mean, we're probably going to talk about this mostly in the order of the movie, but I just want to point out the fact that in the final anecdote, there is...
That shot?
There is one shot that literally goes on for, I would say, like a minute.
Yeah.
And it's all one shot, and it's following a guy cowering around a room. Mm-hmm. And the camera turns and spins probably throughout the entire room.
I'm probably going to play a good portion of that right here, just so that people can admire this, because holy cow.
This is one shot. You can't... Stop motion means you have to do it all at once.
Yeah, this was impressive to say the least. Mind-blowing to just, like...
And this is just one shot out of this entire film.
Well, and like, not only is the shot itself impressive, but just like
the lighting,
the atmosphere, and the lighting, and the acting, and even the effects of like showing like the scene that's in this guy's head. Just like, wow, that is amazing.
This whole thing is fantastic.
Yeah.
And like, this is not just this one scene, it's the whole movie. The whole movie is pretty much on par with this.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and like, this isn't the only shot that's super impressive. It's just, even at this point of the film, like, the movie just kept wowing us with just like how good it looked. And so I'm gonna go ahead and give a little history on this.
Okay,
because I did a little research after we finished watching it. This is by the same guy who did The Emperor's Nightingale.
Okay. Is that in the same country, or was that... Okay, I couldn't remember if it was the Czech Republic or...
And we've missed a few other films by him that we haven't been able to get a hold of. But basically, any films coming out of Czechoslovakia that we've had to skip have been his.
Okay, so I'm assuming they're all stop motion stuff.
Yeah. And I did a bit more research on this guy. I cannot pronounce his name. I'm going to try my best. Juri Trenka? Trenka?
There's no vowels in that. I mean, I'm sure you have it on screen right now.
Yeah,
but...
I'll put it up. But sounds like a really interesting guy.
Yeah, I guess we should just say right now that any names that we are going to bring up here in this review, we're probably going to butcher it. So we apologize up front.
Yeah.
We're not used to saying Czech names.
He had an extensive career as an illustrator for children's books before he really went into animation. And then he went into animation and did the puppet. Like, he made the puppets and animated them and everything.
Cool.
But because I'm reading directly from the Wikipedia article here, but it says, because of his influence in animation, he was called the Walt Disney of Eastern Europe, despite the great differences between their works.
I could see that. Honestly, yeah. Yeah, his stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, and these puppets are amazing. It's the same kind of compliments that I give, or that we gave The Emperor's Nightingale, where most of the time they only have one face, and yet there is so much emotion being captured out of these puppets, and a lot of it has to do with just really smart staging and body language and lighting.
Oh, yeah, there's so many scenes in this movie where there's, I would say, at least 5 to 10 people on screen like puppets on screen at a time, and everyone feels like an individual character. It's not just crowd shot of no, we're moving them all together or something. No, everyone's moving at their own pace. They're doing their own actions. I mean, there's some shots where like they're doing dances, so they're supposed to be in time with each other, but like everything else is just like, this is just a room full of people and they're all just like interacting and talking to each other, and it's like, holy shit, this looks so good.
Yeah, and it's not just the acting I want to praise, it's subtleties too that are like like the scene of the man playing the
stringed instrument?
Yeah, it's like a harpsichord or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's plucking individual strings and those match with the sound, and
oh yeah.
Wow. And it's like, and that's a completely irrelevant scene in the movie. Like, that did not need to be in there, but it's in there anyway.
It's like, as far as I can tell, that whole scene really didn't add anything to any of the other anecdotes. It was just there
to show off. I mean, and it was beautiful.
Like, there's just one shot in particular in that scene where it's just like a flat screen with him slightly off to the side, just sitting there strumming away with just a giant wall behind him, mostly blank.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is powerful.
This is art.
This single frame, like, I would hang this up on my wall.
Yeah. I mean, and there's like even animations of cloth. There's
movement.
Yeah, there's a scene in the first anecdote where they're all like wailing, and there's like, oh, it had like this Philharmonic choir backing up everything.
Oh, they're like scream wailing because like their leader had died, and like obviously they're very distraught by it. The leader, whose name is Czech, by the way.
Yeah, but like there's this bannerman or whatever waving a flag, and you know, you can tell it's still stop motion, but
it gets really close to looking realistic, like, because you can see that the character's fighting the illusory wind.
Yes.
Like, he's having to make specific movements against the wind, and it's like, you can tell.
And there's another, like, in that same section, there's like, I think some women who have like headpieces on, and like their cloth is like fluttering in the wind.
And, like, It's like, you can tell there's definite wind going on in this scene.
And another one that just hops to mind, and this is impressive for a different reason, but like the animators here understand weight too. Like there's a scene where a man falls over, and I think a woman's trying to pick him up.
Oh yeah.
And you can feel.
I think it's like a little boy, and she's like, someone else is trying to like get them to stand up. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, and like they're trying to like pick them up, and you can just feel the weight and the struggle of it.
Oh yeah. It's intense. This movie, if nothing else, is gorgeous to watch.
Yeah.
Just gonna point that out. It's like, the animation in this is amazing.
Yeah. If you are interested in stop motion at all,
you need to watch this.
You need to watch this film. This is impressive stuff. And like,
this is 1953.
Yeah, beautiful set works and stuff too. I mean,
it's like, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to watch this other than like the subject material choices in a couple of spots.
Yeah. Unfortunately, past the artistry is kind of where our compliments end.
Yes.
For this film.
Because two things to point out. One, this movie is an hour and a half, and it feels too long.
Yeah.
It drags.
It's definitely not a children's film.
Oh, definitely not. No.
It's really boring.
It's honestly incredibly boring.
If it wasn't so gorgeous, this would be really hard to get through because it's really boring.
It's really boring, really long, and then like as the segments go on, we just keep getting more and more things that we're just like,
oh great, the 50s.
Great, we're the 50s translating really old stories, so there's rampant sexism and other problems.
Race, like sexism and racism.
Yeah.
So there's another interesting little bit about this film. So apparently before Trnka wanted to make this film, he wanted to make a adaptation of Don Quixote.
Oh, really?
But then the government ? Came in and was like, no, we're not going to fund this. Because I'm guessing the government kind of helped fund these projects.
I mean, that would make sense.
From my research, that seemed to be...
He's like, don't do that. Is Don Quixote French? Spanish? Spanish. It's Spanish. Blech.
Yeah, it was like French.
Why would you do a Spanish book? You should do something about the Czech Republic, or Czech. I would assume.
I don't know, but again, just kind of reading from my research here, it says that Don Quixote was not received well by Czechoslovakian authorities. So, instead, they told him to make this film, which apparently at the time Czechoslovakia was very communist, or had a very large majority communist party or something like that.
Okay.
And so they wanted the film done as like a inspiration to the people to like boost patriotic morale kind of thing.
Which you would, yeah, that makes sense.
So this film is also like borderline propaganda.
Which, I mean, I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised, especially given some of the problems.
Some of the problems with the movie, yeah. This movie worships white men.
Well, I mean, they're European,
does.
so
European history does.
I mean, it's nationalistic, so.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, yeah, there's 3 segments of this film. The first one is completely fine. What were you gonna say?
You're just like, should we start like going through it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. So the first one is the framing of how Czech came to be, and
the translations here weren't great, I don't think, because I feel like there were some plot points or something that didn't, at least in my mind, they didn't seem to make sense. Like,
I guess there were some transitions where, like, it was doing flashbacks, but it wasn't clear that it was doing flashbacks.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first part is, like, the movie opens with the death of Czech, who was the leader of these people, like, this group who came to the area that would later be known as Czech. And it's just this vast wilderness with plenty of beasts and forests and all this stuff, and it's great.
Buffalo and bobcats, apparently?
Yeah, there was a bobcat and a buffalo. I mean, I might be completely incorrect here, but I thought that there was no such thing as a buffalo/bison anywhere other than North America. But I might be wrong. They might have been old species that used to live there and was hunted to extinction.
Well, I mean, like, Asia has variations on variations on, like, a buffalo bison kind of animal.
Yeah, but
so it doesn't seem completely unrealistic to me that it'd be there.
But
they look like North American buffalo.
Yeah, the model that they use, the puppet, is just a North American bison.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
And then the bobcat showed up, and we were just like,
what?
Huh? But and maybe those are in Europe too, and we're just really out of touch.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know that much about Eastern Europe, to be perfectly honest, though.
Yeah.
Or most of Europe. But either way,
especially their wildlife, like, that's definitely something that, you know, no one would have taught us growing up.
So either way, it starts with the death of Czech, and all of his followers are there mourning and screaming and singing like a chanting. Keening, yeah. That's definitely the term for it. And then it goes to a flashback of them coming to this land. And
it's not clear when the flashback starts, by the way.
Because they don't show what Czech looked like until, like,
and then all of a sudden there's this old man there
who
and I'm like,
is Czech.
Oh, wait, what?
And he's got like this. His defining feature is the white staff that's got like a bird head.
Yeah, it's like made of birch or something.
But he's like the leader, and he shows kindness and helps this woman and the child, lets them ride his horse and stuff, and he's a good leader and stuff. And they're like, this land is a great land, but it needs a name. And then people are like, let's use your name. You're a cool guy. We'll name it after you.
Yeah. Yeah.
What she said. And stuff like that.
Yeah, and does anything much really happen other than showing that he's a great guy?
No, they show he's a great guy, and then it just is a montage of them cultivating the land, chopping down trees, killing wild animals.
Building their place.
And then, like, there's a couple of weird scenes in here where, like, there's weird spirits and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's, like, a water spirit that the dude's like, you want a fish? And throws a fish through her.
Right!
It's like, what was the point of this scene? And then there's another one where there's, like, this, like, a couple out in, like, a wheat field. And then there's like a spirit floating by, and they're like, oh no, it's going for our baby. And then they go and grab the baby, and the spirit's like, whatever, I'll leave then.
Yeah, I think that's just something that's lost in translation for us.
Yeah.
It might make more sense if you're Czechoslovakian in 1953.
It's like, I don't know. So it's just like showing that they're superstitious in their spirits or something in the area, because this is dropped then and it's never brought up again.
No, I mean, I just assume that it's like, oh no, the spirit of death almost got our baby, but we got to it in time. It's not a good metaphor.
We're not sure. But then there's a scene where they're scared of the thunder god, so they're sacrificing chickens to it, and the god didn't care and blew up their village anyways.
But then they keep sacrificing stuff.
They keep sacrificing stuff, and it just makes me think, I know this is a thing that people do in the past, but just like, if you're worshiping a thing and trying to appease it with sacrifices or other things, and yet it's clearly not doing anything, if anything, it's making it worse, why do you continue to do it?
Because obviously, Sean, the answer is it just needs more sacrifice.
Yay.
The god is angry because there hasn't been enough yet.
Okay. But either way, and then Czech dies and we go back to the beginning.
Yeah, go back to the morning.
And then we get like a female narrator who comes in and is like, Czech was a great leader and then
he had
a son and then the son died and he had 3 beautiful daughters because of course he did.
Well, and what confused me here is it gave some descriptions
of each of the daughters.
Except for the third one.
It's like the first one's like great with the spirit or like great with
healing.
Great with healing and herbology and stuff. And the second one was all in tune with the gods and demons of the land or something.
Right.
And the third one was better than either of them. And then we get this random story with the guy with like playing the stringed instrument saying like there's a valley nearby where there's a vicious beast killing all beast and man that go there. Is there no strong man to kill it? And then
I'm
this
like,
random.
What happened to the third daughter?
Yeah, what happened to the third daughter? So then this random guy's just wandering along. I'm assuming he found this valley, because he falls into the valley, and it's a wild boar. It's just a wild boar.
Yeah.
Which, instead of him killing,
not even like a Princess Mononoke wild boar.
No, it's just like an average-sized wild boar, which is smaller than a human.
He does have flashing red eyes, so I guess that makes him pretty menacing.
Okay. But this guy, instead of killing it in the valley, he picks it up over his back, takes it to the hall where everyone else is, and then he fights it in front of everybody else.
Yes.
It's like, so instead of fighting it out in the wild, he's endangering his fellow peoples just to show that he's awesome.
Well, and it really impresses this one girl, and I can't tell, did
Who
this
that-
girl come back?
That's one thing is really difficult to tell in this, because there's a lot of time.
Daughter? Is she the lady who's in the camp later on with all the other ladies?
I don't know. The difficult thing about
I would have to watch
this,
it again.
yeah, is like, wow, actually I didn't even think about that. Was that the guy?
Yeah, I kind of wonder. I don't know.
Okay, the puppets do look very similar to each other, so it's difficult to say who exactly is who most of the time. Like, because there's so many time jumps, it's like, okay, now are we with a new cast, or is this brown-haired, short-cutted guy the same as the one we saw earlier? Is it a new guy?
There's only like 4 characters that I would
distinct?
say are super distinct, and that's the old man, the Czech guy. The badass warrior lady.
Yes. And she's only defining because she wears, like, a skin-tight black, like, armor piece.
Yeah. The asshole white privilege entitled guy who wears, like, the bead of turquoise or whatever.
Oh, like, is that got gold shit all over him?
Yeah.
Wow, there's actually more stories in this than I remember.
Oh, no. I wasn't talking about that guy. Although I guess he's pretty distinguished, too. No, I'm talking about the guy who throws a hissy fit about a woman being in charge.
Oh, okay, yeah. There are a few defining characters.
Yeah. And then I was gonna say the coward prince.
Okay, yeah. Coward Prince.
Oh, and the black guy, I guess.
The black guy is, very... He sticks out like a sore thumb, one might say.
Yeah.
For bad reasons.
Yeah.
But we'll get to him at the end, because he's at the end.
Yeah.
Either way, guy
I forgot
kills...
all about the gold stuff. We'll have to talk about that one, too.
That whole section was really boring.
Yeah.
There was nothing bad about it, but it was just boring.
Yeah.
This middle story that we're talking about right now is the one that takes up the most time, and is probably the most interesting, that made us go, why?
Why, though?
So, either way, the guy kills the boar, everybody celebrates, he gets the girl. Don't know if this has anything to do with anything, but then we actually finally talk about the third daughter.
Right.
Who is actually the one that takes charge, and she is the ruler because she's got the staff.
Yes, and the narrator goes on and talks about, like,
She was
how fair and wise she is.
Oh yeah, she's incredibly smart.
And how everyone loves her.
Everyone loves her. She was a great leader, and one random land dispute comes up, and she's like, well, split it down the middle. And the one guy's like, I hate you because you're a woman and I'll never follow you.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh no.
And she walks away, and then there's like these tree spirit gods that come to her, and they're like, it is shameful for a man to have to bend his will under a woman, so you have to go find another man who can take charge. And she's like, okay.
She's like, I don't think they frame it exactly like that. They frame it in the sense of men don't like to be under women. Yeah. So you need to find a man to take your place, is essentially what they're saying, which is still bullshit and dumb, and no. She should just keep ruling.
Like, I don't care if this is how this actually went down. This is some bullshit.
And there's a character we relate to wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But either way, so this tree spirit thing is like, follow a white horse. It'll lead you to a random-ass farmer guy, and he'll be the new leader.
Oh, yeah, and the movie tries to make you like this guy, because he's like, he's so kind to his animals.
It's like, I know, like, Christianity was not the religion of the area, but I was just getting super, like, white Jesus vibes from this guy. Because he's just, like, holier than thou, just like a simple farmer compared to, like, a fisherman or something. And he's just like, I am good and just, and the animals love me and things.
Well, and, like, he immediately comes in and settles some dispute, and I'm just like, the lady, the third daughter would have settled that the exact same way. Get your podunk ass back to your farm,
either
asshole.
Way, the holier than thou guy comes in. He's like, hello, I am new ruler. And there's some awesome animation here, because of course there is. Whenever the ruling lady would go to, like, actually pass judgment on something, she would hold out her hand to ask for the staff from her, like, second in command, her female bodyguard, and
I love her.
Yeah, she would hand it to her, and then she would pass down the judgment. So this time she holds out her hand, obviously to give it to the new guy so that he can take over, because she's a fair and nice woman who wants the best for her people, so she's going to let a man be in charge, which is dumb, but fine. The female bodyguard's like, no, I don't like this. I'm not okay with this. I'm not handing the staff over. So one of the male guys just grabs it from her and hands it over.
Well, and then she's ready to, like...
She's like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
I will kill you.
Get him.
And then it's like, no. Everyone stands in the way, and she's like, fine. And she takes all, like, the other female bodyguards and leaves. She's like, I'm not dealing with this stupidity.
Right. And Sean and I are like, yeah, you go, girl. Also, this is really stupid.
Why is this even a thing?
Why is this even happening right now? Anyway.
So, then there is a girl, a woman tied up in the woods.
Yep.
It was a trick.
Some guys come along and they're like, oh no, a lady's tied up to a tree.
They save her, and then they all get drunk and pass out, and it was the female bodyguard and her crew who did it just to capture them for reasons?
Yeah, I don't
understand.
It's all contrived to make the female warriors look bad.
Yeah, it's like, this is...
It's like they capture them, but they don't kill them, and the lady who is tied to the tree is actually falling in love with the men who, quote-unquote, rescued her, even though she's there from the beginning to tie them up.
And then, like, they're at the female, like, the woman fortress, and there's, like, bonfires in the... like, out in the distance to distract them as the men sneak into the back and let the other guys loose. And the guys just immediately take over. And, like, instead of killing the women, they're like, no, let's have a dance party. Obviously, this is playing up a nice way of what probably actually went down.
They like, no, we're not gonna fight you because you're women.
So we're gonna love you.
So we're going to love you and dance. And all the women just
immediately
start
are okay
dancing.
with it.
Oh, isn't this wonderful? Except for the badass leader woman.
She's like hiding in a house, ready to stab the dude,
the main guy.
The main guy in the back.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, she never gets a chance to actually do it. And
and there's some great shots here too. She's like coming forward,
and like the
ready
lighting
to do
is
it.
amazing.
Yeah, it was like, oh,
It's like,
get
do
him,
it,
get him,
do it, kill him.
get him.
Unfortunately, it never happens. But she does live and like runs, gets
she
away.
runs off.
They allow her to leave or something.
But it's just such bullcrap that it's only like she's the only one that runs away, and like all the other women are just like, ooh,
It's totally okay.
dancing. I'm like,
This is dumb.
barf.
Either way, we get like a couple more generations in here, and then we get to a guy that is obsessed with gold.
Yeah.
The ruler guy just wants all the gold, and so the world is going to shit because
he's favoring the miners and he's not favoring the
farmers. So all the farmers,
everybody is
please,
starving.
Yeah, everyone's starving. And then one of the, I guess he's essentially like a mayor or leader of one of the towns.
He's a noble.
Yeah, he's a nobleman. He wrecks the mine because
He's angry.
He's angry.
He's a farmer.
Yeah. And then he gets... What even happens to him?
I totally forget.
I forget too.
Completely.
Did he get like killed
out.
or... He was like sentenced to death, but then I don't remember what actually happened. Oh wait, I remember. He's like, you have sentenced me to die, but let me just ride my horse one more time.
Oh, that's right. And then he jumps over.
He does a total Zelda move and just jumps over the high-ass fence.
Yep.
And then falls into the river and then swims away. Once again, the hero survives but leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it skips forward a couple generations and it talks
a couple more
about,
generations, and we finally get to the last guy.
I think so.
Who is...
If we're skipping any anecdotes here, sorry. Like I said,
there's a lot of anecdotes, and most of them are kind of boring.
Boring. Yeah.
But the last big anecdote was of the last king, who was a meek man, and there was a neighboring tribe that was going through and slaughtering and taking down everyone else, but he was too scared to go out and fight him. And this is where we get this long panning shot as either God or his inner voice or something is yelling at him for being such a coward.
Yeah.
And like...
I mean, it's obviously like not a great portrayal of, I don't know, schizophrenia is probably what they were going for. But
yeah, I don't know what exactly it was.
Yeah,
it was a really cool and dramatic shot for sure, and like definitely set the mood of this guy's despair and the fact that his people are willing to go and fight, but they need him. And in the end, he can't do it, and he instead sends his
second in command.
His second in command,
top general or whatever.
I don't even know if it's his general. I think it's just like his. Essentially his, what is the term, like, I want to say serf or like, page?
I don't know, it's just like
some other guy
close to him.
Yeah, some other guy that's there to just like serve him. It's like his servant. He sends him in his stead to wear his armor and lead the armies and fight off this other guy who has a black guy on a leash who acts like a wolf.
Like a hound dog.
Like this random, the only black guy in the movie is essentially a crazy wild animal.
Yep.
And acts like a wild animal when he's killing people.
And then when his white master dies, he howls like a sad dog.
Yeah, it's not okay by any means.
No.
Because they literally treat him like an animal the entire time.
Yeah, no, there's no humanity here. It's just, he's just an animal.
The problem is, it's like there's still cool shots.
Oh yeah, it's like Like, there's this whole big battle sequence and this huge choreography of, like, these two duking it out and fighting on their horses.
The surrogate leader of the good guys and, like, the leader of the bad guys, like, they're fighting on horseback, and then, like, eventually the guy in white, who's the good guy, wins and kills him, and then he's going off and facing off against the rest of the troops, like the enemy's troops, and he's, like, just walking towards them even though he's all by himself.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool, like, scene where he's going, like, holds up a shield and blocks all the arrows, and it's breaking his part of his shield, and eventually the shield is gone, but he's still going even though there's no way he's going to make it, and he gets riddled with arrows and
This is a shot that's, like, should be in a Hollywood blockbuster summer film, and here it is in this, like,
movie no one's ever heard of.
70-year-old animated stop-motion film from
because it's like, this guy is doomed. This whole fight was, like, the whole mood of this fight, this whole series of fighting and, like, everything is, we're not going to win, but we're going to die trying.
Right.
And, like, you can feel it the whole time.
The agonizing thing about this is that they make a big speech about, like, we're gonna fight because it's better to fight and be free rather than to be slaves. And then there's also this black guy who's in this whole part of the scene. You're just like, sure.
Well, I mean, technically he's enslaved by the other guys.
Yeah.
Ugh, it feels bad. But eventually this guy dies and the rest of the troops are rallied and they beat them all back and the good guys win.
Yeah. Does it really have any closure, though, for the coward Prince King?
No,
whatever?
He's never mentioned again.
No, he's just in that one really cool shot.
And he's like, you go fight in my stead, and then he never shows up again, as far as I know.
Yeah.
It's like, there was one character at one point who was, like, dying on a cliff at one point that I thought looked kind of like him.
Maybe?
That might have been him, and if it is him, he dies. If it's just a random other guy, then who knows?
How does this movie end?
I don't remember. It just kind of ends?
I think so.
Wow. It's like, we just watched this movie yesterday, and I cannot remember. Like we said, it's kind of boring. Amazing cinematography, and, like, that's the parts that really stand out to us. But, like, the actual story points...
Mixed feelings is the words I would use to describe my thoughts and feelings on this film.
It's like, this is not a movie I would watch for the actual story of what's going on.
No.
It's not a movie I would watch or recommend to people for that reason either. I would suggest this specifically only for the actual filmmaking aspects itself.
Right. For the actual artistry, this film has aged beautifully.
Yes.
For the contents and, like, context and culture, it has aged very, very poorly.
Agreed. So, it's a mixed bag. I definitely think if you, like, the clips that we've shown in this review, if those are interesting enough for you, seriously go watch this movie. If there's boring stuff, kind of like fast forward or something. But it's such an interesting mixed bag of a movie.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. It's like,
but also very, why?
I don't know. It's like, do you recommend it?
I think probably the clips we've shown here are probably enough to let people know what this is about.
And let them decide from there?
And yeah, kind of let them decide from there.
Again, this movie is an hour and a half, and it's also fairly easy to find online.
Oh, yeah.
With subtitles and stuff, so you should be able to find it if you want to.
Yeah, it's something that, you know, if you are a stop-motion animator and, like...
Or are you looking to become a stop-motion animator? Please check this out.
Or just interested in, like, cinematography for animation.
Yeah.
Like, I would definitely recommend checking this one out.
It's like, I'm definitely glad I watched it.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely an interesting one to just, like, bring up, like, I don't know, just to talk to people. I think that this film should be talked about more in animation.
Yeah, because I had never heard of this film before now.
Yeah. But anyway, this is the end of our films for 1953. So next time, we have a film from 1954, Hansel and Gretel, an opera fantasy from RKO Pictures.
So another American film that's not Disney.
Yeah, we don't get those very often.
No, not for a long while.
Yeah.
They are far and few between.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, see you guys next time.